Lilly and Jack Sullivan went missing on May 2nd of 2025. And you'd think in the modern era, it wouldn't be possible for two kiddos to just drop off the edge of the earth. We have no idea where they went. There were all of like two pieces of evidence they left behind. We don't know if they wandered off, if they were taken by animals, if they were taken by strangers, if they were taken by family. We don't know what happened to them. But this week, thanks to some very, very good reporting up there in Canada, we've got some new information. And I know this is a case where we've kind of lost track of it, right? We've moved on to other important cases like Nancy Guthrie, like the trial of Corey Richins in the murder of her husband Eric Richins. We're going to talk both in the headlines tonight. We're going to talk about both those cases. But it's still an important case. We still want to get to the bottom of this. Children just can't disappear in 2025. So stick with me. We'll get into it. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello there, my friend. Welcome back to another true crime conversation with me, Gavin Fish. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for checking in wherever you're checking in from. I deeply appreciate it. And Gavin, hey, Javi, can we have a take two? Goodness, I need to slow down. Maybe I'm just excited. Today's been a good day for me. Today has been a very, very good day for me. First of all, do you see this shirt that I'm wearing right here? If you're watching the video, if you're on the podcast, you're not seeing this, but it is I don't even know what color it is. I'm severely colorblind, but a textured kind of a cable knit kind of a texture. This shirt my wife got for me last night at Marshall's, and it is a large, and it fits beautifully. Back in August, I was wearing a 3XL. Okay. So that's pretty great. And secondly, I got a phone call today from a friend that we have not talked in maybe a year. And it was just so good to hear from her. She's somebody I deeply admire and love to chat with. I don't know why I hadn't reached out before. I'm glad she reached out to me. So it's been a good day. And I hope it's been a good day where you are. Hey, wherever you're checking in from, tell me in the live stream or in the comments where you are coming from. And if you too are having a terrific day, tell us why. What happened in your life that made it so great? Did you fit into a shirt that you never thought you'd be into that size ever again? Guys, it's kind of baggy. I mean, I don't think I'll ever get into a medium. I mean, I'm 6'2". I don't think guys of my stature like fit into mediums, but man, it feels good. Okay, Gavin, what are you doing? Javi, you really should keep me in check, buddy. Let's keep this on track. Guys, Lilly and Jack Sullivan were two little kiddos out in Nova Scotia. Lilly 6, Jack 4, and they just up and disappeared from this house right here, living with their mother, Malia Brooks Murray, pictured here. And I would say, I don't want to split hairs, but self-titled stepdad, David Martell. Stepdad, whatever. Okay. You can tell by, I guess, the state of things. This is maybe a poverty-stricken family. They are out in the middle of Podunk Nowhere, Canada. I say that with a deep amount of love. I live in Podunk Nowhere, Pennsylvania. So they're out in the sticks, and what the parents say is they heard the kids playing, and then they didn't. And they went outside and just couldn't find them. Called emergency services, who have done a Herculean task of looking for these kids. I almost said guys, these kids. And we haven't seen them anywhere. Now, the last we heard, Mr. Martell, pictured here, had just been in court for an assault. I think it was an SA, right, of an adult, not of a child, and not of his children or Malia Brooks Murray's children. But we're starting to see smoke, right? And is it true where there's smoke, there's fire? Could be. Could be. I was I was kind of, well, I try to remain neutral when it comes to my opinions on the parents. I try to follow the facts as we are given them. And of course, we are not investigators. We are sideline citizen detectives. We don't know what's really going on, especially in Canada where they keep everything so close to the vest. Anyway, I try to stay neutral about this, but in the beginning, I was like, why did the mother disappear from view? And why did Mr. Martell keep looking? And I was kind of taken in by the guy. Like, hey, wait a minute. This doesn't remind me of like a Scott Peterson. This doesn't remind me of a Chris Watts. This reminds me of somebody who's deeply concerned about his kids. And now I'm not so sure now that he's facing charges of the SA of an adult. Ooh, that is hard to ignore. But the news that came out today from the CBC, written by Ali Thompson, who has done terrific work reporting on this case, is that a new round of polygraphs, a second round, let's say, were conducted in the disappearance of Lilly and Jack. And we've got an article published in the CBC. I think we're probably going to read the whole thing. We got time for it. It's going to rehash some things, but it's been a while since we've covered the case, and so it's probably appropriate that we do so. You know what? Before we do, though, let's bring Lilly and Jack back up. Let's see where you guys are checking in from. Let's see. Nikki, always happy from Bermuda. Happy Bermudaful Wednesday. Gavin, I love your lullaby short. Yes, if you guys did not see, it's not a sponsor. It is a spoof. Should we do it? Should we do it? I think maybe. Okay. All right.
When you investigate crime, you learn something important. Every strand tells a story. Some stories fall apart under pressure, but great hair holds up under questioning. That's why I trust Lullaby. Because great hair never pleads the fifth. Lullaby, when the evidence is in your favor.
Hashtag not sponsored. Miss Chivos Dragon says, the shirt is periwinkle. Oh, well, thank you very much. Emmy is checking in from San Jose. Cindy is from Ontario. We got Boise in the house. We got Missouri in the house. We got Wyoming, Northern California, Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Also loves the shirt. Kansas City. Kimberly and I are planning a trip to Kansas City this summer. I'm looking forward to it. Texas is in the house. Boston's in the house. Austin, Texas. Sudbury is here. Rose City, Portland is here. Who else we got? Redding, California. Wow, there we go. Redding, California. Thank you very much. And Karen Holly says, your wife has great taste. Very nice looking shirt. Congratulations on the weight loss. I'm feeling good today, guys. Like, I have decided, I'm in the last 10 weeks of the loss. If I follow the schedule, I'm in the last 10 weeks of the weight loss part of my journey. I continue to be able to lift more weight and do more reps. I'm getting stronger and stronger. Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to this phase of it being over and just continuing on with what will be phase 2 of maintaining a healthy lifestyle. But thank you all for coming along this journey with me and giving me so much encouragement. Ontario's in the house, Michigan's in the house, Jersey's in the house. Thank you very much for being here. Okie dokie. Come with me, if you will, over to this article by Ali Thompson at cbc.ca. Second round of polygraphs conducted in disappearance of Nova Scotia children. Nova Scotia Royal Canadian Mounted Police have conducted a second round of polygraph examinations in the disappearance of Jack and Lilly Sullivan, with two of those tests focused on one of the only pieces of physical evidence in the case, a light pink blanket found hanging in the tree. And you can see that in this photo. Let's see if I can. That's about as big as I can get, right? But, okay. Lilly 6 and Jack then 4 were reported missing on the morning of May 2nd, 2025, from Lansdowne, Nova Scotia, a sparsely populated area about 140 kilometers northeast of Halifax. Their disappearance sparked a massive grid search of the thick woods surrounding their home, where they lived with their mother, Malia Brooks Murray, Daniel Martel. I think I said David Martel. Sorry about that, guys. And their younger sister. A piece of Lily's blanket found on the first day of the search, tangled in a tree's twigs, has been the subject of much speculation, fueled by a lack of answers in the case. I have noticed, and maybe I'm just maybe I'm tuning into this more. And how do I want to say this without sounding like a total dillhole, total jerk? There is a segment of the true crime aficionado community that is really not doing anybody any favors with their speculations and accusations. I'm trying really hard not to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy, right? I want to keep right down the middle, and I want to temper everything that we do with humanity and with compassion, as was so beautifully stated by the Reiner children. We don't want to be those people, especially in light of the comments that we heard from Monique Tepe's, I think, brother-in-law, about how one person's speculation turns into another person's fact, right? So we do not want to be those people that are just trading in rampant speculation. Though, I mean, it is natural to question things, right? Family members on all sides have suggested online and in media interviews that it was planted. Haley Ferdinand, Brooks Murray's stepsister, was one of the people who came upon the piece of tattered blanket off Lansdowne Station Road, a kilometer from the children's home, as they scoured for Jack and Lilly alongside dozens of search and rescue members. Quote, "We went down one side of the road and came back up the other," said Ferdinand, adding that Brooks Murray's half-brother, Hayden Murray Smith, was with her at the time. "We came back up the other side, and all of a sudden there was this pink thing in the tree." Here is Haley Ferdinand, pictured here, the stepsister of Malia. Ferdinand said it was intertwined in branches roughly a meter off the ground. She described its position as odd. Let's look at this picture again. Right? Yeah, it does seem rather placed there rather than have fallen in there, especially if these little kiddos are only about a meter tall themselves, right? They're little ones. Okay. Let's see. Quote, "Emotions were very high that day already, and sure enough, we sent the picture to Malia and she ID'd it as being Lily's," said Ferdinand in a recent interview at her home outside Truro, Nova Scotia. "It was just very emotional to see," she said. Ferdinand said she was asked 4 questions during a polygraph examination on February 20th. So we're just 3 weeks ago. Not even, right? We're 19 days ago. Did you plant the blanket in the tree? Did you place the blanket in the tree? Did you put the blanket in the tree? Did you leave the blanket in the tree? She said she responded no to each question, and at the end she was told she passed the examination. Now, I want to pause here and chat about this just a little bit. The only person who truly knows whether somebody, quote unquote, passed a polygraph examination would be the polygraph examiner, right? Now, I mean, do police lie to suspects and to interviewees and to persons of interest? Yes, they do all the time. We don't know if she did pass the examination. What we know is that they said she passed the examination. And that's a distinction with a huge difference, right? So maybe the RCMP is holding it close to their polite and red and white vest. I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Hayden Murray Smith confirmed to CBC News that he was asked the same 4 questions during a polygraph examination on February 19th. He said he responded no to each question and was told by the examiner at the end that he passed. There's another picture of Jack and Lily I actually haven't seen before. How adorable is that? Oh my goodness. This is what is so heartbreaking about this case, man. Let's just zoom up on it real quick. Look at those little, beautiful little creatures that we don't know what happened to them. Where are they? Where could they be? It's just heartbreaking. RCMP declined a request for an interview, but confirmed in an email that more polygraph examinations have taken place as part of an extensive investigation being led by Major Crimes. The Mounties also confirmed the blanket, one of 2 pieces of physical evidence in the case that the public is aware of, is still at the RCMP lab for forensic examination. What kind of forensics could be left on that blanket? I mean, certainly there would be DNA from Lilly, right? There'd be touch DNA, some kind of, there would be, I mean, if it was out in the wilderness, I don't know. It was in May up in Nova Scotia. Still technically the spring. Yeah, probably cool. I mean, I think DNA probably would survive there, but even if it had DNA of like Mr. Martell, then I mean, all that proves is that it's been in the house, right? So what kind of forensics are we looking? I think the most powerful thing would be is if there was some sort of forensic evidence that did not belong to Malia Brooks Murray, to Daniel Martell, to Jack, or to Lilly Sullivan, or to Daniel's mom. Can't remember her name right now. There's so many names in this, and they all have different last names. It's just hard. The second piece is a boot print consistent with Lily's foot size found on the pipeline trail near the family home. In Canada, polygraph tests are used. Guys. I've got a yawn. Okay, yeah, we're clear. Man, I hate that. I'm not tired. I'm not tired at all. But sometimes I need to breathe more deeply. Get more air in me, get more oxygen. Okay, in Canada, polygraph tests are used as an investigative tool and are not admissible in court. Michelle Genus, maybe Jeannie, I don't know how to pronounce that name, an associate professor in the Criminal Justice Department at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, said police conduct polygraphs to help shape interviews, narrow down suspect pools, and to guide who they should be speaking with as part of an investigation. Polygraphs are powerful. Speaking of Chris Watts, right? You can actually go on my channel. You can search and see the polygraph examination of Chris Watts. What an idiot, man. First of all, what are you doing? No, I'm glad he did. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad he did. What are you doing submitting yourself to an interview, to a polygraph examination? And then when they tell you you failed, you immediately cave. I mean, I'm glad that Chris Watts and other criminals like him are stupid. But it does show the power of the polygraph, right? Because I could be strapped into a polygraph machine next to an examiner with the little dials going back and forth, little laptop, and the whole shebang, and I would have no clue whether I quote unquote passed or not. But it is a powerful psychological tool, right? Definitely. Okie dokie. So police conduct polygraphs to help shape interviews, narrow down suspect pools, and to guide who they think narrow down suspect pools and to guide who they should be speaking with as part of an investigation. This is Michelle right here. I'm just going to say genus. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Whose areas of expertise include best practices for recovering missing persons, said she feels the fact that police are conducting a second round of polygraphs signals that RCMP have exhausted all immediate leads. Ah, dang it. That is disappointing. Can't take it as gospel. This is her opinion, her educated opinion. Here we go. Quote, the best thing to do when you have a long-term missing persons case would be to go back from the beginning and start over with fresh eyes. Grr, and look for anything they might have missed before. You know what's happening is now I'm thinking about yawning and it's coming on. Gavin, you are a professional. You should be. Maybe you're more of an amateur, but I don't know. Javi, is there anything you can think of? Wanda, is there anything that you can think of? No, playing sleepy music is going to make me sleepier, Wanda. It's okay. Okay. The best thing to do when you have a long-term missing persons case would be to go back from the beginning and start over with fresh eyes and look for anything that they might have missed before, said Genus, who has been following the case closely. It is absolutely concerning that the investigation has gone on for this long and we still have no recovery. All missing persons cases are usually resolved very quickly, so this in and of itself is very abnormal and concerning, she said. Details about the blanket's discovery are laid out in search warrant applications sought by RCMP early on in the investigation. And you know what? I think I have some of those. Let me just take a look. You guys hum to yourselves for a moment while I just browse over here to my case file. I know that I have a few things. Sullivan, Lilly and Jack, documents. Let's see. Okay, record access order. I want to see if I might be able to share any of this with you. Let me do a search for blanket inside this documents folder. No, I guess I don't have those search warrants. Okay, the document said the blanket was discovered around 4 p.m. Atlantic time on May 2nd, 2025, and police dogs were brought to the location, but no scent was picked up. 2 days later, another piece of the same blanket was seized from inside a trash bag at the end of the driveway at the children's home, said the documents, which lay out an officer's summary of the investigation to that point. Why would they throw... Wait a minute. Why would they throw away... Guys, think about this. You have a missing child. I would hold on to absolutely everything that child ever touched, looked at, walked near, or expressed interest in at all. Maybe I'm just super sentimental, which I am, but I wouldn't throw away a piece of a blanket of that same blanket. I wouldn't throw away anything that belonged to my child. What is that an indicator? Tell me in the comments. Tell me in the comments what you think. Put GF in it. Don't forget, put GF in it. And start it with like blanket so I know what you're talking about. So there's a delay between when you hear me talk and I see your comments. But yeah, tell me what you think. Why would they throw away a piece of that blanket? I wouldn't throw away anything. Nothing. But okay. So here's Mr. Martell. Martell had been using the blanket to stop a draft from a door, it said. About a week before the disappearance, Brooks Murray took it from the door because the weather was getting nicer and she threw it in the garbage. There was already a piece missing from it when she did that because Daniel ripped it off when he put it up, the document said, summarizing Brooks Murray's statement to police. That's suspicious, man. That is so suspicious. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I've been living in a hole. I forgot this little piece of information. Martell told CBC News in a January interview that he had voluntarily provided a DNA sample to investigators the month prior. He said it was his understanding that his DNA was taken in connection with the blanket, but RCMP have not confirmed that. According to the court documents, a number of people underwent polygraphs in the weeks and months immediately following the disappearance, including Martell and Brooks Murray. Ferdinand and Murray Smith were not polygraphed during the first round of tests. Martell previously told CBC News that all the questions he was asked during his first polygraph were presumptive that the children were no longer alive, such as, did you kill Lilly and Jack? Martell said, take two, Javi. We're going to edit this out in post. Martell did not respond to a request for comment from CBC News on the second round of polygraphs. Brooks Murray confirmed to CBC News that she has undergone a second polygraph examination and that she was told she passed. Again, we don't know that she passed. We just know that she said that she was told that she passed. It's very important that we remember these things. She would not elaborate on the questions she was asked. During an interview in January, RCMP Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon said there were, quote, oh my goodness, quote, a number of different areas investigators were following up on in connection with the blanket. Quote, we'll make decisions on that once we have all that we need, but right now we're not in a position to really comment on that. For Ferdinand, that was a quote from Sergeant McCammon. For Ferdinand, her polygraph was simply another box to tick. I knew that I went into the test being truthful, and I knew my result was going to be truthful. So it was really just another normal day, another task to complete in the pursuit of finding out what happened to them, said Ferdinand, becoming emotional at times. Good for her. It hurts the longer time goes. We just want answers, and we want Lilly and Jack home. And that is what we have learned in this latest bit of information in the investigation into the disappearance of Lilly and Jack Sullivan. Now, let me see what you guys are saying on the old live chat. Hidden in the Shadows, hearkening back to my comment about Kansas City, says, Gavin, if you come to Kansas City, World Cup will be here this summer. It's going to be crazy. I don't think that we're going to go check out any World Cup. I'm going to see friends. Kimberly and I are visiting an old friend. As you guys know, I'm a sentimental guy, and I'm going through a bit of a post-midlife crisis. Getting very close to finding the car that I'm going to buy for this post-midlife crisis, by the way. And what is most important to me in my life, second only to my family, are my friends, and especially the long-term ones, and especially the ones that I haven't seen in a long time. So Kimberly and I are going to visit a friend and her spouse, and then I've got another friend that is coming into town. We all grew up together. We've known each other since we were about 8 years old. So 8, 9. I think she came in the year after we did. So I'm really looking forward to it. I don't think we're going to catch any soccer while we're there. I still don't know the dogwood blossom trees, because the dogwood is a tree and a flower. I can't remember. Erie PA is in the house. Joining from Fukuoka, Japan. Thank you for being here. I am making you young, Fourth Opinion, and I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Autumn Doyle, Gavin Blankets. I would keep everything. You never know if they will come back and need that for something. Yeah. Well, I would keep everything just for the sentimental value of it. If if my children went missing and I didn't know what happened to them, now I would behave differently. I think again, just putting on the devil's advocate hat here. If I were responsible for their disappearance or their death or their abuse, perhaps, then maybe I wouldn't want a reminder of them in my life and I would get rid of everything that I could of theirs. But being a person that doesn't do that and being a person who is super sentimental, oh my goodness, I would hold on to everything. I would sleep with it. I would hold on to it. And I think that is a normal, um, I think that would be a normal response. Um, Autumn says, Gavin, I get holding on to items, but at the same time, I think it would make it much harder to grieve and move on. See, but I think that's the thing, Autumn, is I don't think it's possible to move on. I just the same way that I don't think it's possible to really have justice ever. Um, I that's not to say that the idea of justice and the seeking of justice isn't a noble thing and we should do it. I I just don't think that we can have justice for a lot of crimes in this life. I think that, for example, how do you make restitution for murder or for SA or for other abuse? How do you do that? You can't, right? In that same way, I just don't think there's moving on from losing children. I just don't. But I mean, that's just me quibbling. What am I? Guys, what am I?
Professional quibbler here!
That's exactly what I am. Uh, let's see. Arctic Cat says, I have 12 blessings and I'd keep everything hoping and praying that they'll be found and return safely and should come back home to something familiar. That's beautiful. Me too. Me too. Just Ducky, I kept all my son's baby blankets and then gave them to him when he had his son. Well, that is beautiful. I love it. The children have not been found, says Nancy. Why would anyone think about moving on? I honestly think they would only be thinking about moving on. Respectfully to Autumn's comment, like I think it was a thought-provoking comment, a good comment. I think the only people thinking about moving on would be the kind of people that might be guilty of being the perpetrators of the crime. And Autumn, you're right. Yeah, that is not how you meant it. I know you personally, and I get it. I'm just being a quibbler, right? That's what I do. It's what I do. Um, yeah, I mean that's what we have on the case right now. We got more polygraph tests. They're asking about the blankie. They're saying that they have it in their possession for forensics, examination, and that's it. This is a tough case, man. This is a tough case because there's just, again, how in 2025 or later, I know we're in 2026 now, does or do children or does a child just disappear, even in the middle of Nowheresville, Nova Scotia? How does it happen? It's just hard to fathom. Jennifer chiming in says, I wouldn't be able to let go of anything associated with my missing kids. I'm also a sentimental sort. In fact, I have my daughter's baby blankets and special outfits from over 27 years ago. Yeah, us too. One of the cool things about this house that we bought is we have we have a cedar closet. Its only purpose is to have a place to store clothes out of season, and it has been perfect because all of our special clothes, like the little outfits they were blessed in when they were babies, their first blankets, their, you know, their special little Halloween costumes and stuff like that can all be kept safe. And I go in there sometimes just to see them and just to feel them because I love them so much. My wife's wedding dress, I think, is in there, things like that. So anyway, uh, yeah, Jules and me. Wasn't the other half of the blanket in the trash? Yeah, it was. They put it out in the trash. Oh, oh, Susie Q. I'm so sorry to hear this. My family lost a 2-year-old drowned in a koi pond. Grief lasts. Yeah, it doesn't go away ever. I mean, I was just back in California, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that, and met up with friends of my, I'm sorry, the parents of my friend who passed away when we were teenagers. And I was just his friend. I wasn't his parents, right? And it's been 36 years and I still grieve it. So, yeah, it's doesn't make sense that they would throw that away. To me, that is telling that there's some emotional disconnection happening. And I can't imagine that emotional disconnection would happen without some sort of guilt connected to it. And here I am. I mean, this is speculation. This is rather sensationalism too. Don't take this as gospel, guys. This is just me thinking out loud, right? This is not a theory. It's just suspicious to me. Super, super, super suspicious. But I mean, that's all we've got on the case. We will continue to keep our eye on it. Boy, man, the time passed so fast. Let's hop into 3 questions, shall we?
3 questions with Gavin Fish.
Da-da. Okay, in this segment, I answer 3 questions that you sent to me. I gotta say, I'm down to like my last half a dozen questions that are in the queue. So send in those questions. Any question will do, as long as you ask it, right? You just send it to 3questions at gavinfish.com. 3questions at gavinfish.com. It is spelled out THREE questions at gavinfish.com. Please do me a favor. Make your question maybe a sentence or a phrase, not like 3 or 4 paragraphs long. Let's make them pithy, shall we? Let's make them brief, to the point. But I promise that I will answer each one of your questions to the best of my ability. If I ever have a guest on during a 3-question segment that they apply to, I will definitely ask my guest too. But I get to choose the order in which I answer them. That's the deal. That is the deal. Question number 1. There was no context from Colleen about this question. It just asked, are you aware of the YouTuber John Lorden at Lorden Arts? Colleen, yes, I am. John Lorden, I became acquainted with through the Elisa Lam case. Man, talk about a roller coaster of a case, and also talk about maybe a case study in how not to be. I'm not saying John, just saying a case study in how not to behave as members of the public, as members of the true crime community. Man, there was so much rampant speculation, and it turns out that she had fallen into the water tower. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I saw John first on the documentary series on the Elisa Lam case. I can't remember the name of that. If you guys remember, tell me the name of that. It's really good. And I actually chatted with him back, not on the phone or anything. We texted back and forth a couple times. Seems like a real great guy. And he's got a good YouTube channel. He's going strong. Yeah, if you guys, I would suggest subscribing to John Lorden for sure. Question number 2, favorite painter? From Rua, asking me, who is my favorite painter? Now, I am assuming by painter, you mean artist, not somebody who paints houses or is a professional, applier of color to walls and such. Rua, I am quite a fan of the Impressionists. Now, I also am not a billionaire. Therefore, man, something just happened to my headphones. What just happened to my headphones? There we go. There we go. Hearing better now. Um, I am not a wealthy person, and therefore I don't own any of the artwork that I am a huge fan of. But I do love the Impressionists. I love Renoir. I love Pissarro. I love Van Gogh. I love Seurat. I love Seurat. In fact, um, everybody knows maybe what would be his masterpiece, right? Sunday on the Island of La Jatte, or La Grande Jatte, which hangs in the Museum of Art in Chicago. It's beautiful. It is the beginning of the Pointillist movement. Uh, it is so great. Anyway, the first time I went to Paris on business, you guys know that I traveled extensively, but oftentimes I just didn't have a lot of time when I was in a particular place. I was working, right? So rather than go to um, the Louvre or to the Eiffel Tower or something like that, I just went to La Jatte, which is an island in just an island in the river. What is the name of the river? It's an island in the Seine, and I just walked around and I thought, Seurat spent time on this island, uh, painting people as they came and went, and that's how big of a nerd I am about Impressionism. I like Degas. So yeah, the 19th century Impressionists are my favorite. When I was back in California for business and visiting family, I actually a a modern impressionist who I really love by the name of Gary Symington was selling some work, and I had considered buying some prints of his, and I actually know Gary and had gone to all sorts um, of exhibitions that he did in Sacramento and the foothill areas of Northern California. And I even was with him once when he was doing some photography of some trains that he eventually did into a series. But I love his work, and I purchased a couple pieces. I ended up with 3 pieces, and all in the Impressionist style. Well, no, 2 in the Impressionist style, and 1 in the Cubist style that he did in college in the 70s. And so I bought those 3 paintings. Well, yeah, I got those 3 paintings, and they haven't arrived back in California yet. They were all very large and needed shipping. So I got something a little more contemporary, but still in that Impressionist style. Well, 2 of them in the Impressionist style. I haven't really been a fan of Cubism. I'm really not a fan, like classically speaking of, Picasso and stuff like that, right? But because it was painted by Gary, and because my wife really loved the painting, we bought that piece that he did back in the 70s, and I'm really excited to have it here and hang it in the house. Thanks for the question, guys. Tell me what your favorite kind of art style is. It doesn't have to be painting. I'd love to hear it. I also really love black and white photography. I'm actually going to reach out to an artist that I really admire, also in Northern California, and also a living artist, to see about purchasing some of his work for the house. Yeah, I love black and white photography. Okay, Kelly asks, what makes you delve deeper or revisit a case, or is it just what's relevant or something deeper? So for the channel, I try to talk about whatever is happening in the current zeitgeist, because that's how, that's how you stay relevant. And that's how you get views. And honestly, this is a job for me that I get paid for, and I want to present information on cases that people care about. So that's one thing. But then there is a deeper level, right, of cases that I really are at the top of my list in order of importance, right? Some of those cases have been Amanda Winkowski. And if you go over to my website, let me bring that up for you guys. If you go over to my website, this is the support me page, all the different ways that you can support me financially. And thank you to all of you, to my patrons, to my members. Speaking of which, Autumn reminded me that I have the ability to gift memberships. And here's the button. Let's see if it works. There we are. Yeah. Okay, gonna do that. Okay. So, but thank you to my members, to my patrons, to those of you who send me tips and PayPals and all that stuff. Thank you so much. But if you go to cases, you will find a list of cases that I have compiled pretty deep files on. Amanda Winkowski is an important one to me. She is one who was murdered in December of 2008. Her frozen solid body was found in January of 2009. And this is a big case file, guys. Go check it out. Big case file. Another one that obviously I'm very invested in. I mean, the Ellen Greenberg family is a family who I deeply love. And there is a deep case file, including, all sorts of stuff on the Ellen Greenberg case. Another one that actually, Father Joe Marino is a case that I'm very invested in. This is another one where authorities say that he did it to himself. I do not believe that. I believe that he was murdered. David Elmquist is one that is very important to me. Where's David? I just passed him, just saw him right there. David Elmquist. So these cases all have something in common, and that is that the investigating agencies or the prosecuting agencies all say this was an accident or this was self-inflicted. And I say on these ones, now I've seen some that have come to me where people have said, my son, my brother, whomever didn't do this to themselves. And I've had to look at the evidence and say, I'm leaning toward they did. But these cases, another one is Sarah. Where is Sarah? Sarah Easton right here, right? Friend of my sister's, who her husband says that she did it to herself with his service revolver. He was the chief of police. I say I do not believe that for 1 second. Not for 1 second, having looked at the evidence. So getting back to the question at hand, what makes me dig deeper into cases? Well, if there is obvious, what is the word that I'm looking for? Hold on. I will look up this word. I blank sometimes. Obvious corruption. If there's obvious corruption, I am pulled into those cases. If there is an injustice, I am pulled into the cases. If there is acrimony, if the authorities are just like, you know what, she was doing dangerous things. She was an addict. She kind of had this coming. That's why it happened to her. Then I am upset about it. It kills me. Yeah. And also cases where, the victim may remind me of a sister or a daughter or my mom or something like that. Those are the ones that speak to me most. What are the cases that speak to you guys? And then question number let's see, that was question number 3. That is all of them. So those are your 3 questions. Please don't forget to send in your questions to 3questions@gavinfish.com. I love them as prompts to discuss with you guys what you think. So let's go over to your comments. Actually, no, Gavin, you're getting ahead of yourself. We're going to do the headline segment. While you guys are typing in what you want to tell me about your favorite painter, the cases that are important to you, and so forth, the channels that you love, let's dig into some headlines. Okie dokie. I've got 3 headlines that I want to bring to you on cases that we are following that are important to us. Obviously, maybe number 1 on our list is the Nancy Guthrie case. This from the New York Post earlier today, written by Emily Crane. It features our friend Jen. Headline: Key reason ex-FBI agent thinks a Nancy Guthrie arrest could be close. A former FBI agent believes that the decision not to call in civilian search experts in the hunt for Nancy Guthrie could signal that authorities are close to making an arrest. Again, we're not taking this as gospel. We're taking this as the opinion of Jennifer Coffindaffer, not as a fact. Jennifer Coffindaffer speculated that it could be telling after United Cajun Navy, a volunteer-led search organization, revealed it had offered help to the Pima County Sheriff's Department last week as the search for the missing 84-year-old reached the month mark, but never heard back. Quote, wondering why Sheriff Nanos keeps turning away proven, very capable civilian search experts like EquiSearch and the Real Cajun Navy, Coffindaffer wrote on X. Continuing the quote, is law enforcement close to an arrest? And they know what happened to Nancy, so they don't want to waste the valuable resources of these groups. But why won't the sheriff at least acknowledge these groups? Half glass full, hoping law enforcement is getting closer, she wrote. Is it possible? I mean, maybe. And Jen is certainly entitled to her opinion, and it is an educated opinion at that, and an experienced one too. The next headline I want to bring to you is in the Corey Richins trial. This one written by Carolina Hassett on Fox 13. State calls final witness in Corey Richins murder trial. I can't believe it. We're already kind of halfway through our 3rd week of this trial. Can't believe that. Dateline, Park City, Utah. Written by Carolina Hassett again. The trial of Corey Richins resumed Wednesday after a strange day yesterday, which the jury was dismissed Tuesday following a debate over transcripts jurors would be able to see. When the jury returned to the courtroom at 1 p.m., Richins' former housekeeper returned to the stand to give the defense a chance to cross-examine her after finding out that she had violated a court probation in 2023 when she was seen with an alcoholic beverage. Carmen Lauber had previously testified that she obtained the drugs for Corey that were allegedly used in Eric Richins' death. During Lauber's testimony, she said that she had gone to a concert with a friend and instead of paying her back, agreed to buy food and drinks. Lauber confirmed that an officer saw her at the concert with a drink in her hand, but said she didn't drink. However, when told the probation officer saw her drinking, Lauber said that if the officer said that, then it is true. Okay. Weird way to write that or to say it. Okay. After Lauber left the stand, the state called Detective Jeff O'Driscoll with the Summit County Sheriff's Office as its final witness. You know, I have O'Driscolls in my extended family out there in Summit County. They are cousins to my mom, and I know a couple of them, like we interact with each other, but I do not know Detective O'Driscoll. I don't know. O'Driscoll testified that during a search of Lauber's home, detectives found THC products as well as a firearm under the bed. Lauber is a winner here. In addition, a clipping of Eric Richins' obituary was found in the middle of a mirror in the home. Oh my goodness, what a dill hole. What an idiot. Oh my goodness, you are an idiot. Ugh, idiots. Do I have a stupid criminal? Do I have a stupid criminal sound? I feel like I should. I need a stupid criminal sound. My goodness. Okay. I think he will probably continue testifying tomorrow. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't looked it up since we started, and court didn't end by the time we started tonight. All right. Third and final. Do you guys remember the case of Laken Snelling? Let's see. I think I have. I do. Some pictures of Ms. Snelling. This is the former University of Kentucky beauty queen, and I don't know if she was a cheerleader or stunt team, whatever you call members of the cheerleading stunt team, whatever. She is the one who was pregnant, allegedly gave birth to her own child, and took that child's life, if you guys remember this. And of course, she looks pregnant when she was, oh my goodness, yeah, look at this. Pictures of everybody knew she was pregnant. Come on. Okie dokie. Anyway, coming from KOMO News, written by Jessica A. Botello, former cheerleader indicted on first-degree manslaughter charge in newborn baby's death. This just came out today. Lexington, Kentucky is our dateline. A grand jury in Kentucky indicted 22-year-old Laken Snelling on a first-degree manslaughter charge in connection with the death of her newborn baby boy, according to authorities. The Lexington Police Department announced the update in the case on Tuesday. Snelling, a former University of Kentucky student and cheerleader, had previously faced charges that included abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant after police found a newborn's body in her closet on August 31st, 2025. It's just horrifying. And it's not lost on me the perhaps mental illness or emotional illness that might have been taking place in Ms. Snelling's heart and mind. Still, she needs to be held responsible if this is true, right? And I believe it is. Police said the infant, who was wrapped in a towel and hidden in a trash bag, was found after roommates reported hearing strange noises and seeing blood in Snelling's off-campus room. According to authorities, an autopsy later determined the baby was born alive, with asphyxia by undetermined means listed as the cause of death, prompting the grand jury's decision to add the more serious manslaughter charge. Quote, they were given the information about homicide, the 4 levels of homicide, and then deliberated and decided that manslaughter first degree was the charge that should come out of the grand jury, Fayette Commonwealth's attorney Kimberly Baird said of the grand jury, per WKYT. During questioning after her arrest, Snelling admitted she gave birth alone, fell asleep beside the newborn, and later placed the baby's body and placenta in a trash bag before trying to clean the scene, according to court filings. Snelling was released on house arrest at her father's home in Tennessee after posting bond and has since withdrawn from UK. If convicted of first-degree manslaughter, she could face 10 to 20 years in prison under Kentucky law, with additional prison time possible for the other charges. According to WKYT, Baird said Snelling's next appearance in court will likely come within the next few weeks, and we will keep an eye on that. I think the most likely thing that will happen here is some sort of a plea that would keep her out of prison for 1 to 2 decades. I think that's probably what's going to happen there. And those guys are your headlines.
True crime headlines.
Okie dokie. Let's go on to what you guys are telling me over in the live chat. Cooler by the Lake says, always thought the Daniel was shady. I hope this case gets resolution. So sad. It is indeed. Autumn found another camera that you'll never use. Yes, I am always up, especially if it's a film camera. My collection is growing. And Autumn, I have put about half a roll through the last Canon camera that you gave me. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. Just Ducky says Ansel Adams is my favorite. Yeah, fun fact. I have a contact print, an original Ansel Adams contact print. It's an 8x10 of his Moonrise over Hernandez. Love me some Ansel Adams. Let's see. Yeah, welcome to the family, new fishies. Yeah, I'm glad I remembered. I can gift memberships. Autumn's keeping me honest here, guys. I forgot that I can do that. Crystal says Vincent van Gogh is her favorite. Yeah, I started to fall in love with the Impressionists after doing a play in high school that was an original piece written by my high school theater teacher that we titled Van Gogh. And it was about the life of Vincent. And I started to really fall in love with Impressionism then. Pretty fun. Runs with scissors. That reminds me of that scene in Cheers where Frasier was talking about, I'm a dangerous man. And then he grabbed scissors and he ran around the bar. I am running with scissors. It's one of the best scenes in television history. Okay, Gavin, are the mom and stepdad still together? Did they ever turn on each other? The blanket piece is really suspicious. To my understanding, and I don't know this, they have split. I mean, Mr. Martell said in an interview that she left. I don't know if they're back together or anything like that, but the last information I had was they are not together anymore. I have not seen any evidence that they've turned on each other, but again, the caveat there is that in Canada, man, they just do not release a lot of information. So there's a lot of stuff that we don't know, right? Have they testified against each other or given interviews to the police, making accusations against the other? I don't know. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, Sky Ricky knew what the word was. Corruption was the word. Ellen Greenberg. That case is synonymous with corruption, in my opinion. Yeah, Dan Markel is another case that Sky Ricky cares about. Let's see. Diane says, I love Dali. Visited the museum in Sarasota, Florida. Spent the entire day there. That's all. I've never been really taken in with Salvador Dali, though I recognize his value to the history of art. Speaking of other channels here on YouTube that are just awesome, I don't know if you guys subscribe to Baumgartner Restorations. He is based in Chicago, and he is a master conservator of fine art. He did, let's see, actually now I'm second guessing myself. I think it was a Dali that he did, but now I can't remember. But pretty awesome. Anything else? Let's see. Robert the Ruse says, I love Degas and Van Gogh too. I also don't like Cubism or Surrealism or Dada. I do like Impressionism and Fauvism, although the latter can be a little dicey. Yes. Ramona asks, Gavin, what are you drinking in your pickle cup? In my dill hole cup, you mean, which is available at gavinfish.com in the swag shop. Which includes a definition of what a dill hole is. Let me get it in the right spot there. It's a mildly insulting term. Turn that off. Used to describe someone acting foolish, annoying, or clueless, as in you, Mr. Stearns, are a dill hole. I am drinking delicious water. I get parched as I speak to y'all. Oh my goodness. I should have turned on Do Not Disturb on my phone. Guys, thank you so much for spending some time with me tonight. I'm glad that we have at least a little bit of an update on the case of Lilly and Jack Sullivan. I'm hoping that something is going to happen here soon. Oh my goodness. Crystal saying the Pascal show is that's one that I subscribe to and check in on every single day as well. I love Pascal show. And Scotch's mom says, so glad I was able to catch the tail end of the live tonight. Corey Richens just ended a few minutes ago. Thank you very much for that update. Guys, I'm glad that we do have this update on the Sullivan kiddos. I hope that we have resolution soon. Remember that you can always reach out to me on my website, gavinfish.com. There's always a link to it down in the description below. You're always invited to join us in the fish tank on Facebook. That is where we hang out. Just search the fish tank or fans of Gavin Fish or whatever. You will find it. There's about 6,000 of us in there. We talk about all things true crime and some personal things here as well. So yeah, you're invited. And we will be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Wrong button, Gavin. What are you doing? At 6 p.m. Eastern Time to continue another true crime conversation with me. I hope that you join me then. I don't know what case we're going to be on. It could be Corey Richens, could be Nancy Guthrie. It just really depends on, there are lots of cases that we are following, right? I keep wondering when we're going to get an update on Nick Reiner, on Spencer and Monique Tepe, on Caitlin Tracy. I'm keeping my eye on all of those, and I will bring you the latest news as we get it. Until then, I bid you adieu. Thank you very much for being here, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.